In the 2009 NFL season, the New Orleans Saints won Super Bowl 44. Winning the Super Bowl saved the city of New Orleans and gave its people the hope that they needed. To understand the significance of the Super Bowl win, the story begins a few years prior. In August of 2005, Hurricane Katrina made landfall on the Gulf Coast, with the worst of the storm hitting New Orleans. The storm was a Category 4 hurricane and one of the worst in American history. The storm surge was so strong that the levees protecting the city broke, flooding the entire city. The storm left entire streets and neighborhoods completely destroyed. Over 1 million people were displaced and left without homes. And the death toll rose to over 1,200. For many, the Saints' home stadium, the Superdome, became the only place of refuge. Thousands of people had to live out of the Superdome for weeks. From the damage from Katrina and the damage done by thousands of refugees, the Superdome was trashed. The Saints organization had a decision to make. It could relocate to San Antonio, Texas, or it could stay and rebuild a city that loved them and needed them. Ultimately, the Saints decided to stay and help rebuild. But would the city and the team be able to bring hope back to its people? In 2006, the Saints brought in coach Sean Payton and quarterback Drew Brees. As the city began to rebuild its home, the Saints began to rebuild its historically bad team. In their first game back in the Dome, the Saints beat the Falcons on a dramatic blocked punt. Drew Brees led the Saints to their first ever NFC Championship game. Just like that, fans began filling the Superdome and the city had something to hope for again. It all finally came together in the 2009 season, just 3 seasons after the devastating hurricane. The Saints went 13-0 for the first time in franchise history. They went on to beat the Arizona Cardinals in the divisional round of the playoffs. They then beat the Vikings in the next round to send them to their first ever Super Bowl. They would go on to face the Colts in the Super Bowl. They went on to win their first ever Super Bowl, and Drew Brees was named the MVP. This Super Bowl win gave New Orleans the hope and the joy they had been searching for since Katrina tore their city apart. From the lowest of lows and the strongest of pains the city could endure, to the highest of highs and true joy. As someone who grew up in New Orleans and as a Saints fan, I can truly say the New Orleans Saints saved our city.